It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. It's a party.
What it do, everyone? Hello. Welcome back. We're so sorry.
After the biggest hiatus ever.
I know, especially because Fee Baby talking about we're going to do it every week, and then she come back and put it all on Fee Baby. That's it.
Our intention definitely was, once we had came back from our last hiatus, to do
weekly
and be consistent with you guys, but boy, life happened, and it did not work out that way.
It was hitting us hard. Left, right, up, down. We got hit with an uppercut.
I got hit with a southpaw. That shit was not sweet. Yeah, life happened, and now we back. But you know, we allow for that type of fluctuation in life.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So what? Well, first of all, we gotta make a couple marks. We're gonna get into what we've been up to. But we got a couple marks we need to hit. First of all, we are now a year in with us, Misguided Hoes.
Yes. Give your hands a clap. Amen.
It's a year in. Why don't we have buttons yet for applause? We need buttons for this that we just push.
Fact. We're gonna Amazon it later.
And we gonna get the video back too, you know?
We working. Shit has been rough, y'all. Yes. Well, I would say y'all have no idea, but I'm quite sure y'all understand.
We gonna get to that. But yes, we are now a full year into potting.
Yes, it has been an adventure.
Yeah, how do you feel about what we've done so far, what we want to do, how we've come? CUM?
I feel like it's moving in the right direction. I think we definitely have to be a little bit more consistent, but again, life shit happens. But other than that, I like it. We talk, we enjoy, we have listeners, been with us since day one.
Yes, 10 toes down.
Facts are Misguided Hoes, so we appreciate y'all, love y'all for tuning in and, providing comments and our likes and loves, and we love you back.
Yes.
What about you?
I am very proud that we've hit our year mark. A lot of times people pick things up, put them down. They start something and don't see it through. So I'm very proud of us for starting something and keeping it going and, continuing to try to change and stay consistent with what we are bringing to the table.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of us.
Yeah, 1 year, y'all.
Yes, and many more to go.
Yes. Let's make some money, too.
Yes.
Amen. Say amen.
Yes. So not only are we a full year into potting, but with this hiatus we've entered a whole new year now.
Yes, it's now 2022, so Happy New Year to y'all. Yes, hopefully y'all had a great Christmas, a Happy New Year, a great Thanksgiving. I think we missed a couple of them.
Yes, we missed Christmas and we missed New Year.
Yeah, so hopefully y'all got what y'all wanted for Christmas. And hopefully y'all, kiss somebody under the mistletoe for New Year's or something.
Mistletoe's Christmas.
What'd I say? My bad.
Under the mistletoe.
Gotcha. Just making sure y'all paying attention out there. Mistletoe for Christmas and kiss,
under the balls.
Under the balls. For Christmas.
New Year.
You fucking me up.
No, you're fucking yourself up.
She fucking me up, y'all. She fucking me up.
You heard it from her mouth first. She fucking herself up, honestly. Get your ass off my computer, T'Challa.
So,
put his booty hole right on the keyboard.
He's just doing too much. Why are you doing too much? But, yeah. So, hopefully y'all kiss somebody. Had a little...
Not too many, though, because,
with COVIDs and shit. Definitely don't. Because now they got the Omarions out there.
And now they got the Flurona.
Oh, yeah. You get the flu and a Corona.
All at one time. It's a lime with the coconut.
I don't want it.
Child.
Don't want it. But I definitely pray for whoever has had it. And y'all, stay healthy out there in the world.
Yes.
Make sure y'all do what y'all need to do.
Change the quarantine timelines.
That shit don't even make sense.
Yeah, absolutely not.
How can you get better in 5 days? First they were talking about 14. At one point they were talking about 20-something days. Or am I making that up?
You're imagining that.
Oh, maybe that's a movie.
It was 14 days.
I think it was a movie where it was 21 days.
Okay. Yeah, it was 14. And then they lessened it to 10.
And then it moved to 5 real quick.
Within like 2 days. They're like 10 days, just kidding, 5.
Yeah, it's really just so people can go back to work, but people really can't. But then they say you can only go back to work like if you're asymptomatic. Most people aren't asymptomatic at 5 days.
So you know what I found interesting? I'm trying to remember if it was in some major city. They did a testing, and what they said were like incidental positive tests of COVID, i.e. meaning the patients came in for some other ailment, like something completely separate and apart. And I guess maybe they went ahead and tested them while they were there, and they popped up positive, but they had no symptoms of COVID or weren't there for COVID. So they're saying like 50% of a lot of the numbers that are being reported right now for COVID are not even like people thinking they have it, which is like staggering to think that like there are so many people, which is probably why the numbers are so much more higher right now. They talk about transmittal, stuff like that. So that's just kind of crazy. So I think they said probably, I think I'm about maybe 3 weeks removed from a friend who had their child's checkup appointment, and they were concerned about the variant. And the doctor had said, give it about 3-4 weeks. That's when you'll actually see the spike, because that's when people who are positive are out in the world and they
not
find
even
out
knowing.
later. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think we're in that 3rd, 4th week right now where the cases are probably going to be at their tippy top.
Well, my ass will be staying in the yacht.
Yep.
In the house.
Yep. I've changed. So I used to wear like reusable masks, cloth masks, and someone had, I guess I didn't fully understand and wasn't aware of, I mean, yes, to an extent, like the effectiveness of varying masks. I never thought was like the N94, N95 masks, like the
when you can breathe that out with the little thing.
Yeah. Of course, I think, those would be, of course, most beneficial to those in the medical field, but I didn't understand even as like a person out in the world how important it was, the type of mask using. So now I have the disposable one-time use ones that I'm using now, as opposed to cloth, just because of how quickly it's transmitted. And apparently each mask has so many hours of effectiveness with you being exposed to it. So yeah, this, hopefully we can put our heads down and get through this, because
girl, shit ain't going nowhere.
I got the resurgence going on right now.
Shit ain't going nowhere. We just gotta have to, unfortunately, live with it, is what it usually is. Most of the things like this happen this way. It happens where it's like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? And then we all go through it, and then at some point, it just, that's about it. Yeah. So hopefully everyone stays safe. That's the most important part. Make sure you're doing what you need to do to stay safe, and for other people to stay safe.
So we're now like maybe a month into the year. Has the year brought you anything? Has there been any different changes or alignments that you've done, or anything that you have willed into the new year for yourself?
Well, I have finally finished my book.
Yes, love that for you.
Yeah, it's been like 80 years. So I finally finished my book. I am in I won't really say editing, but I guess kind of so, because I'm actually paying someone to edit, because I'm not doing it. But going through, just reading through to make sure it makes sense, stuff like that. So that's taken me more days than I thought it would, because I was like, what the fuck is this? And so, because sometimes when I'm typing, I don't do paragraphs. Sometimes I don't even do like punctuations. I don't do, like, if I'm really into flow, I literally just physically type it, like, and sometimes if I'm like out and about and I'm just sitting in my car waiting and I'm on my phone, I don't even type, I just do the voice. So sometimes that shit just fucks up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I'll go on and just be like blah 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 da, da, da. And then sometimes you say period and you really physically mean a period, and it puts the word period. So I have to go through and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be a period, not the word. Not the word. So I just been going through that, and I'm almost done. I'm on the last one, about a third of the way done. So
that's good, because you finished like what, last week? So I think that's good. That's good timing that you're making. I'm sure it feels hard. Like a lot. Not a lot of time.
I've been working hard because I have an editor already, so I'm trying not to make them wait because it takes them about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And so during that time, obviously, I'm going to try to promote. So y'all know whenever I got the name of the book, because I thought I had one, and I looked it up, and it's already a name.
Have you figured out, like, so let's talk about, like, this process. So you have an editor. How did you how did you connect with this editor?
I have a mentor.
Okay.
And my mentor gave me her information.
So let's even break that down further. Your mentor. How did you, because I feel like that's a lot, because, like, thinking about that would be like, okay, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. But I can't speak for everyone, but I know for me, thinking of that task, I break up into all the million different things and people you need to know. I would be overwhelmed, be like, I don't know these type of people. I don't know how to get that. So you have someone who's helped kind of align you with that. Where did you find your mentor?
Through the app Clubhouse.
Oh.
Yeah. I was heavily on it at the beginning, and sometimes I like peek in because there's certain rooms that like I actually like to go in. But I found her on Clubhouse. She was talking about her book.
Okay.
And so I joined a bunch of writing groups and stuff like that. So some of them, they literally like once a week, it'll just be an hour of silence. So you're just in a room and they'll play like either like nice type music, like jazz or something in the background just to help you relax. Okay. And then you'll all literally just sit in silence and type. Even it sounds weird, but sometimes that can just help.
It's intentional. That's like it's blocking. It's you sitting down
and doing the
other
work,
people around you, holding you accountable.
Yeah,
either they're not in the physical there. Yeah, I think that's pretty dope. Yeah. I like that idea.
So I've been in that room, but the room I was in, it was someone talking about a book, and so they were like, "Oh,
it was your favorite book, right?"
Zayn.
Yeah, our favorite author.
Yeah. So how I got started was Zayn, and I read her when I was.
That's how you started writing, or that's what put you wanted writing with Zayn? Okay.
Zayn. Like, I liked to read when I was younger, but for some reason, Zayn books, and maybe that just made me who I am now in relation to my sexuality.
Okay.
But I was young reading her books. I'm probably 14. It shouldn't be reading those type of books. So if y'all know who Zayn is, she writes eroticas on all different types of levels. And so I found her book one day in the library, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I literally fell in love. So I probably read almost every single one of her books.
Okay. So is it Zayn who's the mentor, or is it someone?
No, it's someone. It was someone else that was just in there. So they were bringing people out. Yeah, yeah. So they were bringing people up, like into. I don't know. Have you ever used Clubhouse?
I have not.
Okay.
Because it didn't open up to Android users.
I think
maybe at some point they did, but at that point I was no longer interested.
Oh, yeah.
So at first it was Apple exclusive.
Yeah. So the room had several people in it. And so Zayn was up there speaking. There was a couple other authors up there. And they're just talking about how they got started, the difference between self-publishing and not, and like what they think is best and not. And just giving different. So obviously I was in the right notes because I was like, if I don't get picked up, obviously I hope I do. But if I don't, then self-publishing would obviously be what I do, what the steps are, etc. And so she was talking about how, one of them was talking about how she has done both ways. And, you know, she prefers not self-publishing. But when I guess the person she used to use, or the company she used to use didn't want to pick up one of her books, she decided to self-publish. And you see a lot more of the money when you self-publish because it's literally just under your company, under your business or whatever. So you getting all that money back, but it's also a lot of time spent because you're literally doing it all. When you have a company backing you, they're doing all of the promotion, etc. So I guess it really depends on how you look on it. So I had just messaged her because everybody said just put your, Instagram up, blah, blah, blah. So I found her and was like, hey, I really like what you were saying. Can, if you don't mind, be a mentor, X, Y, and Z. And she was like, yeah. So she said, shoot me one of your stuff. So I was like, fuck, let me make sure my shit good. So I went back, obviously, that day. Because I was like, if I'm asking someone, they ask for something, you have to give it. Like, otherwise, there ain't no point.
Let me just stop and say something. One thing that I admire about you is that when you want something, you ask for it. Worst they can say is no. Like, you are a person that, if there's a question, you ask. And I admire that because I'm definitely not one of those people. And I put myself in a situation like, I would literally say to myself, if this was V, V would have asked, or V would have done X, Y, Z. I really admire that about you. Like,
Well, I appreciate it.
A lot of the just the question asking piece will withhold people from what they're capable of.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be like that. And then I said, ain't no point. They're going to say yes or no. And I had asked her and I think one other person. And the other person was like, I already have like 3 mentees. And I was like, all right, I absolutely understand. So I asked them at the same time. But I love who I have. And she's always available. So we exchanged numbers. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So we talked on the phone for a bit. And she was walking me through like things to do. Like we literally went through self-publishing and other things. And things that she uses. So it was really cool. That actually made me start my self-publishing business just in case, so I could just already have it on my belt. So I think the next day, I literally just did it. Because to me, if I don't do it when I'm thinking about it, it's not getting done. Right. And that's what I had to learn about myself, which is hard because sometimes I just want to relax, but I know that if I really fucking want it, I have to like just bog down if I can do it.
Right.
So. But I love it. And so I messaged her the other day. She was the first person I messaged. And I was like, guess what? I fucking finished finally. And she was like, stop it. And I said, yeah, now I just have to edit. And she said, well, I have an editor. She said, I have editors that I use. And so she was like, I'm going to do a group message. And once I do the group message, I'll exit out or whatever. And I said, all right, cool. And she said, hold on, your big books are erotica, right? And I said, yeah. She said, all right, I ain't gonna send you this one then. Never mind. And so she sent me another one. I was like, I appreciate it. So I spoke to her.
That's the dope part about having someone who knows the industry because you don't know. I mean, I guess one would and would not think about what type of content someone does and does not edit. I guess I probably wouldn't think about that. I would just think like it's a job. If you edit, I'm giving you a book to edit. It doesn't matter the content, but I could also see like how people may, specify what type of content they edit as well.
Yeah. It's a lot of work and it's something that I know that I couldn't do. Like, I feel like when I actually read something, I could tell like, oh, that don't make sense. But then like, for some reason, I've never been good at paragraphs. Like
knowing kind of where the thought behind one stops or another one starts?
Yes, because I feel like, oh, that should go here. But then I'm like, oh, it should go here. And then it's just me, and especially with my own work. Like when I read something, I say, that don't make sense. That probably should go there.
When looking in books, like the paragraph formatting is so different than how you learn to write paragraphs.
Yeah. So it's a lot that goes into it. And I just don't be knowing what, where it should be at. So that's why I was like, I'm not even going to go into it. So editor, and then someone's like, why don't you use Fiverr? Fiverr, I think is what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
And I have used them for something else, but I'm an editor. Because I was like, it's going to be my first, like, real book. I just need to make sure that shit is, like, because I've read books, and I'm like, the grammar, this, and it threw me off. And if I'm going to be doing, like, series and stuff, which is what my goal is, I don't want someone to be thrown off because the editing is trash.
See, I've used that website before, Fiverr, however it's called. I've used it before, and I used it twice, and so both times were for my schooling, and both times, for one, the things I was communicating that I needed. Like one was a U.S. history class, and they put me in with someone who I was like, I'm not going to prejudge who gets assigned because a lot of it is work and people who are creating their profiles who are not in the U.S. So I was like, I mean, I'm in the U.S. and don't know shit, so it's very well possible they could study it and they know more than I do living outside the U.S. But every single time I used someone, it was very bad. It wasn't what either the ratings said. So I honestly don't know how people use that website to discern who they are or are not going to use for various jobs.
Yeah.
Because the experiences I've had have been trash. So I'm actually kind of happy that you were able to get someone to give you the inside versus you trying to go source it yourself.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't use them. I probably would have, because I know a couple people that know people. So even if I didn't have a mentor, like one of my close friends, her sister has written several books, and so she goes through a publisher, but her books are Christian based, so that's obviously opposite of opposite of what I do. Obviously, I'm quite sure Christians read those books. But yeah, so I know a couple people that know people, so it would have worked out either way. But yeah, I wouldn't have used that Fiverr for that because I don't know what their skills are, and I would be highly upset if I pay for something and shit trash.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so she told me about her, and my mentor is Danielle Smith. And I guess let me just run down a little bit of her credentials. So she is an award-winning author and filmmaker, a writing coach, and the founder of a movement called Don't Be Quiet, which I believe is for women.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yes. So absolutely love her. And like I said, she answers all my questions. I just text him like, hey, I'm struggling. And she'll be like, blah, blah, blah. Like she motivates me. But for some reason over the last bit, and I don't know if it has to do with this year, I've decided every month there's going to be one thing that I remove from my life for that month particularly. Mm-hmm. And so this month I removed masturbation.
Okay.
Yeah. And some days it's been a struggle. So
let me, before we get there, so once a month you want to remove something. Mm-hmm. So what is the goal? What is the purpose behind you choosing this to be what you do for this year?
Discipline is the main thing. Because sometimes, like some things I can be super disciplined about, like bam, that's it. There is no ands or buts about it. But then there's certain things where I'm like, well, maybe this or maybe that. And I'm just trying to teach myself discipline overall as a whole. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this will help. It's been a struggle. Like one day I almost gave up on this because I was like, I need to relax. I need a release and I need it now. But I was like, no, don't do it. And what I did instead was right.
Okay.
So that helped. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right. So maybe just these type of things is, I don't know. So that's my goal. I have no idea if it will work. We're going to go from there.
So then secondary. So we're going to talk about your journey this month. Mm-hmm. This month. But my next question is with this being your goal for each month in 2022, what is it that, are there certain things that you're wanting to try to target, like certain either feelings, emotions, or what is it, like, for example, masturbation for January? Mm-hmm. What prompted you to pick that for January?
Because it's one of the hardest things for me to not do.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of things that I can just, like I said, be like, whatever to. But because it's such an easy release, especially when I'm stressed, that I was like, all right, well, let me see if I can put that focus towards something else.
Okay. So it's just more or less just a matter of will. Just wanting to
see if I'm able to do it.
Okay.
It's been very hard because over the weekend, this shit almost happened. And I said, no. So I started writing. Or editing, I should say. And then I was like, all right. And then I watched football. So I was like, I haven't watched football in a long time. And I was very happy I did. Because, I don't know. It, like, brought joy to me. I haven't watched, I don't remember the last time I watched football. I used to watch football almost every single week. Mm-hmm. And then I just stopped. And I think also because this was the month that my grandfather passed. So it's been a lot. February and January, February are very rough for me. Mm-hmm. Overall. And so I think maybe it's me also trying to find something else to focus on outside of the tragedies that occurred during those months. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know.
Have you kind of thought about what you want to do for February?
So it's between two things. Mm-hmm. Either no sex or no going out and spending money. Those are also my next two hardest. So it would either be February for one and March for the other. So they're going to be the two next ones. I just don't know which one will be chosen. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the money one, since I'm about to be spending a lot of goddamn money. So it's probably the money.
What you about to be spending a lot of money on? What else did the new year bring us, bitch? What else did the new year bring us, bitch? The new year brought velvet, a fucking house, my guy.
It did. I shall be signing papers as long as everything works out this week.
No. We speak things into. We give affirmation.
I shall be signing papers next Tuesday.
When everything is in line?
Yes, when everything is in line next Tuesday. So I will be spending a bit of money on moving and, getting everything straight for the new place.
This bitch is going to be on my side of the water.
I am. Bitch, we about to be close as fuck.
Yes.
That means we're going to try all these places, though, for the food.
Yes. I ain't going to travel through the tunnel to come do this damn podcast no more, bitch. This last year. Besides maybe 1 or 2 episodes, I've been coming to Virginia Beach from Hampton.
Yeah. Monday. Yeah. So that's going to be good. Yes. And we have in the new place, it's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Yes.
Has a nice backyard for my little king over there that likes to fuck up shit. T'Challa.
And he can meet my baby, Luna.
Yes. And they can play in the backyard.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. He'll have a place to play and have his fun. So one of the rooms will be dedicated just for the podcast. So that when we are doing it, I can just shut the door and we don't have to deal with it.
Yes, congratulations, though.
Yes. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm like, shit, it's a new house. It's a new step. But I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it.
Love that for you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Love that for you. Welcome to the Homeowners Club.
I know. I've been wanting to do this for like fucking ever. So it's finally the step. So now I just need to become a millionaire and we there.
Dang.
We there. What about yourself? What's happening with you in the new year of 2022?
Not too much. I recently picked up a new hobby.
Okay.
My new hobby is, so we talked about, the reason, I know one of the guiding reasons for me wanting to do the podcast was like a creative outlet. Like I felt like I wasn't artistic. But through having to do some just kind of alone time, through especially like with everything that's going on with like COVID and stuff, like having to really center and be in the house more.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And having to entertain myself and trying not to like get lost in just TV and trying to occupy my time. I found this thing called paint by numbers. And I didn't realize, so paint by numbers, essentially what it is you get this canvas that has a pre-drawn picture on it, and the entire painting is separated into numbers. And each number has a paint color that coincides with it. That once you do the entire canvas, it makes a complete picture. And I started doing that, and I had like literally fallen in love with it. Now, mind you, it's very time consuming.
That was the opposite for me.
I fell in love with it. Yeah. I fell in love with it. Now, like I said, it's very time consuming, and I have to be better disciplined with it because when I started, I want to give all my free time to it because I don't like, for the most part,
to start and finish.
Yeah. So
I'll start and not finish.
Yeah. So I'll literally sit there and dedicate 2-3 straight days of all of my free time to it. So that was something, if I continue to do this, which that's what my intention is, I'm going to need to learn how to divvy up my time more and not be so consumed with it. But I love the feeling that it gives me of having, like, I said, I enjoy painting. Again, I'm not good at drawing things or anything like that. So this helps me be able to have that kind of other outlet. And I enjoy it a lot. I've done 3 of them so far. I've noticed on each one of them, there's at least one number I didn't paint somewhere. There's one itty bitty slot somewhere that I overlooked. But it is what it is now.
And you probably can't even really see it.
You can't. I had to literally like zoom in, focus on it.
Yeah, that's too much.
And I saw it. But I would say for the most part, that's really been what the new year.
Do you have any aspirations or goals this new year? Not really. Why can I not think of
resolutions?
Thank you. I don't really do resolutions. I just said something for me. Like, it depends really. But do you have any resolutions this year or goals or whatever you want to call it for 2022?
No, not really. I think the paint by numbers, which is something that came to me new in 2022. I definitely think I want to keep up
with that.
Okay. I do want to get back more and get back into like my fitness journey.
When we're on the side together a bit.
Yes, I definitely want to get back into eating better. Like, I think my main meals are still pretty solid, but I'm a snacker. And that's where my problems coming in.
Healthier snacks?
I need to kind of lessen the snacking.
Well, I don't think snacks are bad. I think they tell you can have 2 snacks a day, but it depends on what you also have.
And the amount that you have it in.
Correct. So just like you do your prepping, just prep a amount maybe that will help instead of like having a bag of chips and you do like, let me get these chips. Maybe do a week of snacks. I'm not a prepper. That's not something I will ever do. It's just not for me. Because I can't eat the same thing daily. It will literally damage my soul.
That's what's up.
I tried it before when I was really into it. And I think I did it for a week. And I said, if I eat another fucking chicken and broccoli, I'm going to kill. So I could not do it. I don't know. I'm so happy you can't. I just don't know how. It's just after a while, I'm like, all right, bitch, what else do I want? I want a taco. I want chicken. I want shrimp. I want fish. I want noodles, Lord. I want noodles. So, yeah.
So I think that that's something I want to. That's something I've been kind of contemplating for a little bit now. I think that with the winter, it's kind of thrown me through a loop. I also think that I've like discovered about a seasonal depression that I don't think I've experienced before. Yeah, the darkness really like fucked with me this year, like hardcore. So that's something that I realized that it's kind of thrown me off and put me inside of a rut. Like before, winters didn't bother me. It's not even the temperature that bothers me. It's getting dark so early and feeling like I don't have access to the daylight anymore. Like the moment you get off work, boom, it's dark. You can't do shit. Because my favorite thing to do is to like go outside, take the dogs out, go for a run, go for a walk, and it's like you can't really do that. Especially like the trails in the parks, those close at sunset.
5:30.
Yeah, so
and that's by the time you get off and get ready to go. You're like, just kidding. Yeah. We can go for the 10 minutes, but that's about it. Yeah.
So just keeping up with the paint by numbers, and then just wanting to
exercise
overall do better for my overall self.
Yeah,
I think would be
great.
That'd be awesome. You know?
Well, when we're on the side together, we could be accountable for each other because I have a Planet Fitness thing. But I'm trying to decide on the extra room, if it's going to be an extra room, or if I'm going to turn that to a fitness room.
Ooh.
Because it's not like super huge. And so I'm like, but then I'm also like, I also have people that usually come spend the night. So I'm like, should I have an extra bed or are they going to sleep on my couch forever? So it's like, but I really want to work out like area. So I don't know.
We gonna take a gander at your home. We gonna put some ideas together.
Fact.
We gonna figure it out.
We gonna figure it out.
Enough space.
True. And I was like, depending on how big the podcast room is, that might be also a workout room. I just have it like on the side. I don't know. We figure out life.
Because also could be. I'm not sure what you're doing with your office. It could be an office/podcast room.
I was thinking about just having that in my room. Because my room is big, and I don't think that the podcast room is like huge, and it's just too much clutter, and I just want it to, So if anything, it'll probably be podcast/workout, and my office will just be in my room. So my room is pretty big, so it'll just be like in the corner.
Okay, cool.
And that way it's close to the door, so I can let T'Challa out, and he can leave me alone about being outside. I'm like, go ahead, go outside for 30 minutes. I'll set my timer and I'll come get you. So yeah. But I'm excited. I think that we both have some goals this year that we need to meet and actually do it. Focus on ourselves is an important piece of life and moving forward.
Right.
So I think once we stop focusing on ourselves, I think a lot of things
unravel.
Yes, and fall out of place. So we have to make sure we're good in order to make sure that other people that we take care of, whether it be people, dogs, whatever, are also good, which I've had to learn because it's a struggle.
Yeah, dogs are, they take a lot of energy from you too. Dogs take a lot of energy.
I was like, oh, this is a whole nother child.
That's why when people ask me if I got a kid, that's why I'm quick to say I have a dog, because it takes a lot of energy.
It is so much. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I remember this. But also when you're a child, you're like, oh, I have a dog. And then you go outside and play with a dog, and that's about it. But you don't really you don't buy the food. You don't do the, it's so much. And I was like, I spent a lot of goddamn money on you, sir.
Yeah.
Like when I go to the store, it's like shopping for a child. You're like, oh, my son would like these shoes. Yeah. And then you get a dog. Oh, my dog would like this toy. And you're like, goddamn, I spent $180. How exactly. I do that?
Exactly. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Absolutely not. And so the other day I had to catch myself when he was getting groomed. I was like, oh, I'm going to walk around and just get him some dog food. And I was like, oh, he like this. So I said, bitch, put it down. Bitch, put it down. Because the bitch was about to walk out paying $120. Because
this man right now is playing with some type of inanimate object right now. Just like a kid. Won't play with none of the toys. Play some random shit they find. That's what he's doing. Playing with some random shit right now.
No, that was a toy. The one that I was throwing earlier.
A piece of a toy.
He chewed it up. And now I've been throwing away the pieces so he doesn't swallow them. But yes, he has chewed this up with majority of the toys that I've got him. All of them. I found one that I put like candy and then I put a little bit of peanut butter inside, and that keeps them occupied for a very long period of time.
Oh yeah, that's the key. That's the key to their heart, like the Kongs.
Yep. So I did that.
That's the key to their heart.
So what I did, what the doctor told me was to put some snacks at the bottom, put some water up top, freeze it.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
And then put peanut butter at the top. So when I did that, so when I had to leave for a couple hours. I put him in the crate and put that, and he was occupied. Hey. I came back, and he had almost gone through the shits. He was trying to find that motherfucker. He was like, ooh, what's this? He was fucking up peanut butter. And I put the peanut butter, I think there was 3 holes, put the peanut butter all 3 holes. He absolutely enjoyed it. I was like, he's about to fuck this shit up for real. So, yeah, that's about it. That's life right now.
Well, someone else brought the new year in a little awkwardly. I think we discussed it, and you wouldn't have seen the video. You wouldn't have wanted to see the video even if I brought it up. But Pastor Mike Todd, he was giving a sermon.
Who's Mike Todd?
He's I had no working knowledge of who this man was prior to this video that went. Mm-hmm. He was giving a sermon on essentially how the path to get to something may not be appealing. It may not be what you want to get to where you want to be. And the way he demonstrated this is he had someone on stage with him. The person apparently isn't actually a blood relative. But what he did is he cupped his hand and he spit in it.
He cupped it? So it wasn't even like a little bit of spit. It was a whole hot. Did he hot?
He hocked the loogie. He absolutely did. He absolutely hocked. And you could hear the people's expressions in the crowd. He hocked the loogie and spit in his hand. Mm-mm. He then began one hand on the gentleman's shoulder. The other hand he takes and slides it and mushes it across this man's face. To the point that spit actually drips down to this gentleman's mouth, and he has to pull a line of spit away from his mouth. Get out. No. Yes.
And the man slapped the pastor.
No. The man was completely cool, on board, let him do as he wished. And afterwards, now apparently, while giving them, I guess bit of grace, they're a huge church, but also they do a lot. It's one of those things that you do a lot of good, never gets recognized. And then moment either something goes crazy, you make a mistake, everyone's down your throats wanting to do X, Y, Z. Because I personally have never seen, anyway. It is. Because I personally never heard of him before. But apparently he does great, charitable work, stuff like that. But nonetheless, he had said he reflected back on himself and said that, what I did was extreme. I was trying to convey a message. Especially during COVID.
Sorry.
Especially during COVID.
I would have fucked the pastor up. He would have got hit so quick. It would have been a reflex that I wouldn't have known that it happened until it happened. He would have did that, and the hand would have came up so quick, and I was like, "Oh, I hit the pastor, Lord Jesus, God forgive me."
It was disgusting.
That's so. But you spit. I thought he did
he hocked the loogie.
No. But what the fuck was the message? I want to know what the message is.
Because he was saying that you have to go through like areas of uncomfortableness. Sometimes
and COVID.
You want to go through and be on the other side, but you don't want to go through what it takes to. But I'm like, I don't understand how your handful of spit on someone's face
because it's uncomfortable.
Is communicating that. Nah, that's way past uncomfortable.
But some things are way past uncomfortable when you have to go through the trials and errors.
So you're co-signing.
No, he would have got hit, is what I'm saying. I get where he was trying to go with it, but should he have done it? No, because Sir Pastor would have been knocked in his outfit. He would have felt the Holy Ghost. You heard me? He would have been shaking. Because I'd have fucked his ass up. Period.
Yeah.
He would have, oh my God, he would have got hit with an uppercut, a left, a right. Probably hitting the balls too. I just, with COVID, and he had,
It was disgusting because you heard him hawk it from like the back of his throat. It was disgusting. I think I'm done.
We're moving on. I can't. That's nasty.
Oh, you're done?
I can't.
Oh, you're done.
That's nasty.
Oh, so
I can spit on shit.
So
it's certain things.
You want to be done now?
But how can spit on shit? How can spit on a dick? Cool. How can spit in your hand and slap and rub it on a ball? Cool. How can spit and slapping someone in the face? Not cool. There's a difference. There's a time and a place. There's a time and a place, and I want it.
But it wasn't even it was that. He did like through the nose at the.
It's not too. That's what you get. That's what you get.
Because I don't even know how to do that, but you know, like when they like hawk it, like mouth is not open. He just engaged his nostrils. Yes, that. But you heard the rumblings.
Oh, that's nasty.
Of it coming down.
Oh, he was a smoker at one point.
It was disgusting.
He was a bad smoker.
It was disgusting. But yes, other people.
What if you got COVID after that? Oh,
child, and whoever else, any of them would have touched afterwards.
Oh.
It was disgusting. You saw a line of spit around his mouth, and he grabs it.
And did what?
From his mouth. He just was like, ugh.
So who complained about it?
Everyone who saw it on social media.
Oh, okay.
I had a nerve to broadcast it.
He thought he was going to speak to people.
Yeah.
But he got the right one, because the wrong one would have hit him. Ooh. The wrong one would be me. What would you do if he did that?
And it's crazy, because he's like a relatively like average size guy. The guy who he did this to was pretty big.
Can
like
you imagine
tall.
if I did that and this?
Like he was husky.
What would you do?
I'm sorry. You would never do that for one.
Absolutely not.
You would never, and your rabbit hat, never. That's not something you can come back from. Not something we can come back from, bro. And what could you do? We can't come back from that.
Nah. On facts is fight on sight.
Yes.
Fight on sight. Is that what this is called?
Fight on sight. Yes.
Fight on sight. Because I don't like people touching my face in general.
I don't like people touching me.
Not in that sense, yes. No.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can go not in that sense, but I don't like people touching me, period.
Girl, you've had sex, bitch. They touch you.
Nah, there's a difference.
But it's still touching, so no, it's not. That's what I said in that sense. We
understand there's a time and place for everything. When I say I don't like people touching me, I don't like people touching me.
Yeah. It's the thing. And I used to not be that. I used to be that person. I didn't like people touching me either. Like, I didn't like hugs. Like, if you would ask anyone from college, if a motherfucker tried to hug me, they would get this real quick.
Mush,
right? I did not like it. I don't like hugs, but I've grown to like it over the years. Like, I've grown to like, oh, this is an act of love or an act of whatever, and so I've just grown to the hour. But before I like that shit, I didn't want to be touched. No, not at all. Not at all. Everybody be like, oh, she don't like hugs, don't do it. Don't do it. She gonna hit you. Don't do it.
You know, other people taking L's. Not sure if it was taking an L in 2022, but a recent L. Match.com founder lost his bae to Match.com.
That shit funny. It's funny and sad. Like, you were dating the creator of Match.com. You then found someone on Match.com. So why were you on Match.com if you were dating him?
You would think there'd be certain people, like, as a CEO, you can put through your filter
to see if they're on. I absolutely would have.
Like family, friends, all that.
Well, it's probably because of privacy you couldn't. But I'm going to say that I probably would for my significant other. Bitch, I wish you would. Why are you on Match.com? Why are you on Match.com? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. someone else. So she found someone else, and maybe she's happy, and maybe he found the love of his life, and so that was just what it was. But it does suck. It's like then you went on my website to find another dude, and you didn't even tell me.
You could at least gone to a competitor,
or you could have told me, like, "Hey, boo, this ain't working." Blah 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 blah. I really do like you, but I think we're better off as friends, or whatever you want to say, or I'm not feeling you. Period. Cool. And then go elsewhere. I just can't.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, so there's that. Unfortunately, someone who has gotten bad news.
Oh my God, who?
In 2022, Regina King.
Oh yes, her son passing.
Yeah, she lost her son.
And it's her only son too, her only child.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be tough. I wouldn't even. Oh my goodness, I cannot even imagine. Not something I want to even go through.
Yeah.
And it was suicide, right? That's what they said.
He was 26 years old.
That is so sad. Sometimes you just wonder like what people go through to make them take that specific step.
Yeah.
Because some people are going to say, well, he had his life, ahead of him, or his mom was fucking Regina King and they had everything they needed. But people, rich, poor, in between, go through different shits.
I think it's very, selfish to try to trivialize why someone took their life. Mm-hmm. I don't think that is a decision taken lightly. I don't think that is someone who most times who has made a decision in that moment who doesn't understand the holisticness of the impact.
Yeah.
It's not fair. While I understand he has a mother in this world, mm-hmm. It's not fair to act as if he's here living his, like anyone who takes their life, that they're here living their life for someone else, or they should remain on this earth due to their connection to other people. Mm-hmm. It's, I feel like most times, more often than not, that there's a lot going on. There's a lot that they're battling, and it's not a decision that's made lightly, and it's not something that you can try to equate to materialistic things. That's a lot of times, as you mentioned, how people try to go when they hear about someone taking their life, like, oh, they had money, they had all they wanted,
but
they had status.
Shit regardless. Stuff they
mental
even
health
went through
is mental health.
Exactly. And a lot of them have been through stuff even when they were younger, and that stuff, like we talk about all the time, seeking out a counselor or a therapist or whatever you want to call it is very important, because the trauma that you dealt with at a young age mm-hmm. continues through your lifetime until you have physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever you want to do, have actually dealt with it. It will go into relationships. It will go into any type of ship that you have. Mm-hmm. It will go into the workplace. Anything that you go through, any type of trauma that you go through, it will literally be brought up again until you have physically dealt with it. Mm-hmm. And even then, it still can come up, but it won't impact you the same way as not dealing with it.
Right.
So I don't know. I really pray for her family. Like I said, I have a son. I cannot even imagine. Not something I ever want to go through. Not anything I want to ever deal with. And you being as a mother, that's also, even a parent in general, I'm quite sure she's thinking, what did I? And that shit right there, wouldn't even know. Like, I can't even imagine that. That's absolutely what I would think. But what could I have done? What could I have done to do better?
But then that's also, I feel like that also ties into, I guess you don't want to characterize it as much as like selfish, but it's not because of you someone did something.
True.
It's not something that you could have done to make it different.
Yes.
It's something that they themselves are internally dealing with. Right. Yeah. So there's nothing, and depression is not one of those, if I called you more, if I checked on you, if I asked you how you were feeling, that's not, and if it was or wasn't, not saying that's what he was battling with, depression or not, but usually that has a lot to do with it. But depression is not something that, as long as you have people who love you in your corner, you're okay and there's nothing to worry about. That's not how depression works.
Yeah. Which, trustedly, I have it.
So that's the part, like, even with people who say, like, try to trivialize why they did it, it's also kind of goes to the same respect that you feel like you could have had some type of impact on it.
And sometimes I feel like you can, though. Not saying it's a huge impact, but maybe that one phone call that day, it may have stopped it that day. Not saying it could have stopped it, period. But maybe it's something that he or she or whomever, again, not saying this person needed to talk about, and maybe they didn't feel love that day. It literally, it could be a kabillion different fucking things that was going through that person. But as a mother, I can just say that
it's hard not to internalize that. I can
imagine. It's just as a mother, I'd be like, "Fuck, what could I have done maybe on this day or did something different?" And it's not to be selfish. It's like my baby's gone. Like, could I have tried to change that? Could I have prevented it? Unlikely. It's highly unlikely that you can, because if that person's going through something, it's not, like you said, going to change just because of one thing. But that's what you think of because it's your child. It's like, I'm supposed to be here to protect them, and that shit didn't happen. So I don't know. I would. I just don't even know with that.
So you, which is kind of ties into the topic that I wanted to discuss. You mentioned, if people are seeking out assistance with a mental health counselor, a therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, what have you, how do you go about finding that type of help? How do you go about discerning who you want to start on that journey with?
I think that's a trial and error, to be honest, because you have to find what you're actually looking for in someone. So for me, I have had probably 3 counselors in my lifetime. I am starting with a new one next week, and I really hope this is the last one.
Yeah.
But I think it's trial and error. I think it's you have to go to them to see what you want. So for me, at the beginning, I just was like, I really just need to talk to someone. So at that point, I didn't care who it was. I just knew one, it was not a male. It's just for me, because I am a woman and I talk about certain things, I don't feel that a male can understand certain things that I feel or go through, that being able to talk to them about it, I feel like it would be pointless. Again, not saying that's what the case would be, but that's just how I feel. So I'm like, there's no point in me seeking out a male because of that. So I think you have to start with what you're actually trying to seek in therapy to determine who you need to seek out. So man, off the list. That was done. So my first therapist was a Caucasian, older female. I think at the time I was like in my mid-20s, I'm going to say, when I first sought her out. And she was cool, but there were things that I felt like I couldn't talk with her about being a Black woman.
Sure.
And so I was having a conversation, and one day she like looked at me oddly, and that just rubbed me the wrong way. So that was a turn off for me. So after that day, I never went back. Like, I didn't call her nothing. I didn't. So then I didn't do therapy for a while, and then I found another lady, and she was cool for a bit, but it just was like, I don't know, like I feel like I have to find a connection. I just knew that the 2 things that mattered to me was that it was a female and that she was Black or of color, to make sure that she understood things that I want to talk to her about and it not be odd to her because she's never dealt with it. Like, I feel like you can have sympathy or empathy for people, but if you haven't dealt with certain things, like, you can understand it to a point, but you truly can't fully understand it.
Or if they haven't done the work necessary to be able to relate to you.
And so it's like maybe they read a book, but I don't know. I just feel like with certain things, you can't just read a book and feel like you get it. Like, there's certain things you're just not going to get except for physically doing the work or being, as people say, in that life or dealing with it. I don't know. So I just didn't feel it. And the last one, she was an older lady and she was cool, but I just felt like the communication wasn't there. So I don't know. I feel like I just have to feel something like I want to talk to the person. If I feel like if it's something I just don't want to talk to the person, then I just don't feel like it's going to work for me. Like, I don't know. So I think the main things are figuring out if you want a male or female. If it doesn't matter, that's fine. Also, if there's a certain ethnicity that you want to deal with, depending upon your ethnicity or what you deal with on a daily basis or whatever it could be, you have to seek those out. And really, I just looked online and I think I typed in Black female counselors, and then this thing came up, Black girl therapy, I think, or something like that. I think Black girl therapy. And then I literally clicked in what my insurance was, and it gave me whoever accepted that insurance, and I went through and read who it was, and I went on Google and did my research and was like, all right, this one sounds cool, or no, that's not good. And there was one, she looked very interesting, but to me, it just seemed like she was there for the hype. I don't know how you could tell that by a photo, but like, you know, how
go through a lot of fucking schooling just to be there for the hype.
But you know how a certain photo, like, I look at everything, and it could just be me because I overthink everything. Mm-hmm. So it could not be that, but she had like photos like in this fly ass outfit, like definitely fly ass outfit, but it seemed like more about her outfit, and like even when like you read her stuff, it's I don't know how to explain it. Mm-hmm. But I just was like not vibing with it. Like, she seemed like it would be cool, someone to talk to, like she'd be a cool friend, but a therapist, I don't know. No. So I just skipped over her. But I found a couple and called some, and hopefully this one will be the last one, and we click and we move forward, and I hope. But what about you? What do you do to seek out?
So the first time I ever did, and I feel like that's also important to what you're seeking it through, mm-hmm. or like why you're seeking therapy, because a lot of people don't know that therapists, you know, however you want to categorize them, they specialize in a lot of times they specialize in different things. Mm-hmm. So whether they be like adolescence, trauma, domestic violence, all different types. And then they also specialize in different types of theories too, as to how to handle your traumas. But I remember the first time I ever went to a therapist is when I was much younger, and I would say I was like maybe 8, maybe. And it was a male therapist is who I went to. And I don't know, he had a very, and I think we actually ended up revisiting or seeing him again in our later years. But he was very, I don't know, he lacked a lot of like the people skills. Like
compassion?
Compassion was very much lacking with him. He was an older white male. There was a lot of compassion that was lacking from him, especially for someone who was dealing with children at the time. It just didn't make sense to me. And then as I got older, more recently, I've had 2 different therapists. Mm-hmm. The first one was an older white lady, and I could tell, I think I had 3 visits with her. And the 4th one, I was a no-call, no-show. And she called me and asked if we could have, like, she realized I wasn't coming back, and she wanted to have a closure session. I said, no, I'm good. Things that made me uncomfortable about her, I'm very much like, I've got to trust you mm-hmm. in order to, like, be able to, with anything. And I think the first session was rather short, like maybe 30 minutes, when it, like, my assumption is we were supposed to be there for an hour. I think we were there for 30 minutes for the first one. I think the second meeting was 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I think on the second one, not only was she already trying to, like, give me, like, these coping skills to use and, like, life with, like, the things I was disclosing to her, mm-hmm. but she also was, like, answering phone calls for other patients.
While y'all were in there?
While we were in our session.
Oh, that's a no.
And I was like, first of all, I was like, I don't understand. I was like, I thought I was supposed to be getting the benefit of a full hour. I was like, you're already trying to teach me about these coping mechanisms, and I personally don't feel comfortable enough with you to feel like you have a proper assessment for me.
Of me and what I'm going
through. To think that you already have an idea of what I need. And when I asked her about, like, the time frame, she's like, oh, yeah, like, the next one will be an hour. I'm like, I was supposed to have 3-hour sessions at this point. And you've given me a 30-minute, a 45-minute, which has been interrupted by
phone call.
One time was a phone call. The other time she actually stepped out the room to go talk to somebody else. So I'm not even giving the benefit of this full 45 minutes that I'm getting with you.
Well, I would have told my insurance. Mm-hmm.
And that on itself, like, it creates an issue of, like, especially if I'm someone who puts other people, like, first, mm-hmm. which is an issue that I have a lot, is putting other people first. When I'm here and I'm supposed to be the focus in this moment, you're prioritizing someone else's.
Above me.
And that just, like, it really just did not resonate and sit well with me.
I absolutely, I would have.
Which I think that would be an issue for anyone. But all of those things were pretty much flags. And then the last lady I had, she did really well. I do think that, I don't always necessarily think that someone has to be able to have gone through some of the same things in order to be able to relate or be able to like coach you through something. But I do think the work and to understand these experiences that you haven't had go a long way with helping your client.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having a huge disconnect. My last therapist, white lady, probably like her 60s, and she didn't seem to quite understand online dating and how it worked, or how like communication with people in like my age group and younger are. Like, she really couldn't fathom how people are able to communicate and make any type of connection through like any type of meaningful connection in general over like text messaging. And I wasn't telling her like that was the only means of communication, but like she would like push for, you know, didn't understand, or would like try to push more for different types of communication. And I think from someone coming from the age group that she did, they didn't have the texting, they didn't have social media, they didn't have these dating apps.
So she used to the old school.
Yeah. So it's like trying to relate to them, like we're kind of not on the same page, because in my everyday life, well, for one, I work on the phone. I've never been a person who likes to talk on the phone for long amounts of time. Like, even with people who I'm close with, I get on the phone, there's a purpose to it, I get off. If not, you just kind of hear me lingering on the phone at that point. So it's really important, even starting out. I know sometimes people just want to get started, and that's the first step is the most important.
Yeah.
But the second step is trying to some level or degree understand why you're going, so that you can at least get with someone who has familiarity, or their area of focus was that in their degrees. And then from there, seeing if there are certain physical attributes that you do want from them at that point. So first, it's more important to understand why you're going, so that you can at least start pulling from a pool of people who studied in that area and arena. And then from there, if there are certain physical attributes, whether that be race, gender, age, what have you, you can kind of home in and find in. But I do think it's also very beneficial to speak to someone who looks like you too. Like, that's representation in itself. So yeah, I think that's kind of the important piece when it comes down and you start to look at wanting
those
to seek
things
that
and seeking treatment. So y'all should know that if you need to seek any help, we're always here if you want to talk. We obviously, we have to put a disclaimer. Well, technically I am, but
my degree's in psychology.
Yeah, mine is cool. But seek out help. It's okay to talk to people. There's nothing wrong with it. There's certain communities that are like, don't do it, but there's nothing absolutely ever wrong with it. Seek out what you need to better yourself. That's the most important part. You need to better yourself in order for you to really have a fulfilled life.
Absolutely. And it's not to say that also, you mentioned communities that may not believe very strongly in the mental health field. You can always use that. It's not to discredit anything else that you may be using and utilizing, but you can have an arsenal of tools.
Correct.
And mental health can be in addition to, whether it be a religious aspect that you're using to kind of approach the things that you're dealing with internally, whether that be family that you're utilizing. You don't have to cut one off in spite of the other.
Correct.
You can have, because there are also therapists that deal in religion.
Correct.
That can help bring those two worlds together for you.
And for me, I believe in the Lord, but I don't want it in my therapy.
Yeah. And that's important too. It's important to, if you do have that religious background, do you want those two to intersect in your therapy sessions? So it's kind of asking, and I think it's also helpful. V mentioned, what is the site?
Black Girl Therapy.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of different websites that are like that, and I think that specifically the questions that are asked through this website help them, instead of just putting out whoever's available and who has client slots open, it helps them partner you with someone who should truly be a good fit for you to start you off on the right foot.
Yeah. And I think you can actually separate it on there. I'm quite sure. I have no idea if it's for any other ethnicity. My assumption is no, because it says Black Girl Therapy. But it could be. I just know that I specifically sought out Black females, and that was my main thing. And then I put in what I was seeking treatment for, so that it wouldn't give me anybody other than a Black female for that treatment.
You've got to be intentional when you seek that help, because truthfully, as an adult, when I sought out the services of the first lady who I discussed, it was very it deterred me from wanting to continue, because a lot of times it takes a lot from you to even take that step to get into therapy.
The mindset.
Yeah.
Yes.
To take that step to do it, and then if it doesn't work out, for one, that's a lot of energy that you feel like you wasted, and you can also end up feeling defeated. True. So try to do as much of the weeding out that you can in the front of the process. Because, that's not going to guarantee that it's going to be a match, but you have a better success rate with whomever you decide to start these services with. So just kind of, like I said, sit with yourself and figure out what you want it for, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
So, you got anything to add?
I agree. No. The most important part is actually doing it. Like we were talking about earlier, discipline and focus. If it's something that you actually truly need, that needs to come first before anything else. Otherwise, the other things, again, as we stated, will not be in place. They will be out of the lines. Okay? So focus on yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. And if a motherfucker tells you, well, what about me? Tell him to suck your something.
Ding-a-lang.
But if you don't have one, tell him to suck your pussy lip or your booty crack hole.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or your toe if you're into it.
Toe action.
But yes. No, that's really about it. Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
No, I think that about sums up what I got for you.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all. And again, thank you for tuning in to Like I Was Saying podcast with your girl,
B-Baby, and it's
Velvet.
And don't forget, I was about to use your line.
Uh-huh.
It's been a minute. It's been a little bit.
Because I was like, hold on, what?
Each of you are
beautiful. Yes, because each of you are beautiful. Fact. I'll go ahead and lead while you think.
Yeah, I got it.
Each of you are beautiful, and to never stay what?
Stagnant.
In your motherfucking life. And
life is tough, my dear. But so are
you, and you.